Good morning. We are still on Sunday, the 3rd of January, and we are now at 10 to 8 in the morning. And we are moving on with chapter 10 of Been There, Done That, Still Not Bought the T-shirt. And the name of this chapter is The Ice Cream Theory. Who does not love some wacky theory to try and make sense of everyday life, why things happen? So I came up with the ice cream theory, and it's funny where this theory actually came from. And believe it or not, I think I've Joey Tribbiani of Friends to thank for this one. You know, talking to Ross about, taking a spoon and delving into the life of ice cream. I know there was a lot more to it, but anyway, anybody that knows Friends will immediately understand where I'm coming from on this. So anyway, this has rattled around in my brain for many, many, many years, because how long ago was it since Joey Tribbiani came out with that? Anyway, this has rattled around, and this is my take on the ice cream theory. So anyway, let's see how you get on with it. I love ice cream. Simple as. It's one of my favourite foods. My mother had cravings for 99s from Teddy's in Dunleary when she was pregnant with me back in I was born in 77, so she obviously fell pregnant in 76. So from 76 into 77. It feels apt to bring my ice cream theory into this part of the book. How many different flavours of ice cream do you think exist in the world of ours? Don't worry, I'll save you the hassle. There's over 1,000 different flavours. Personally, I feel there could be a lot more, but let us not argue with Google for today. We'll accept what Google's telling us. I do accept the fact that not everyone reading this eats or likes or can tolerate ice cream. But it would be safe to say most people do like ice cream in some flavour. However, the advantage of this is I'm not actually asking you to go eat it. I'm using the concept as a theory. So just for this section, for the sheer hell of it, if you're one of those people who have an averse to ice cream, please pretend you like it. So we have an ice cream that we love, we hate, we tolerate. Some flavours we put together, other flavours not so much. Here's the thing though. If we are as choosy with our ice cream, how can we not be choosy with the rest of the important parts of our lives? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Who we surround ourselves with, what career choices we make, what chemicals go into our body, what negative emotions and thoughts we retain, holding on to insults instead of holding on to compliments. I'm the world's worst for that. Not believing enough that we deserve the good that life must bring. So let us look at the ice cream again. I love pistachio nuts. Love them. I could eat a bag of them. But I do not like pistachio ice cream. I love the nuts. Not so hot in the ice cream. Rum and raisin ice cream. Seriously, who invented that? If you were to go on my above recommendation, you would never try either of those purely because I don't like them. I adore vanilla, chocolate, mint, orange, Kinder Bueno, and cookie dough. Do you like any of those flavours? Or are they flavours you'd run a mile from? Now let us bring the ice cream theory to reality. Are you aware that just because someone raves about how nice another person is, or how good they are at being a friend, or how wonderful they are at getting a job done does not actually mean that person is going to be good for you. There's also the flip side of that. And I found myself in this situation where I'd been warned off someone. Why was I warned? Well, quite frankly, I have no idea. It's none of my business as to assume the reason. But thank God I did not listen to the warning, because quite frankly, I could not imagine my life without this person in it. They have become one of my best friends in my life, and my life is richer because they are in it. In other words, our ice cream flavors matched. One of my dearest friends, who to this day does not go into great details, and I don't push it either. Quite frankly, I don't want to know. But enough for me to grab the picture of where they were warned to stay away from me, as I was all sorts of bad news. My now friend, who's been my friend for an awful long time, probably too long for either of us to care to remember as to actually how long we're friends. But my friend for about a year never wanted to meet me after all the horrific stories they were told. All of them untrue, but hey, that's not my burden to bear. Eventually we met, and my friend was left scratching her head as to where this god-awful person was that they had heard awful things about. Our ice cream flavors mixed very well. I did not mix so well with the person who was saying the awful things about me. But again, that's okay. Again, I don't like rum and raisin or pistachio ice cream. I'm sure there's people out there that love it. Me, not so much. You see, just because you do not match well with people and do not get on and have seen the horrible side in someone and they in you, because people have seen my horrible side, does not mean that's like that with everyone. Remember, a reason, a season, a lifetime. I was in relationships where the worst was brought out in each other. I'm thankfully in a relationship where only the best gets brought out in each other. And our ice cream flavors definitely match. Yeah. Most people probably would refer to our ice cream flavors as nuts, but hey, look, listen. I'm happy out. Do not get me wrong, it does not stop me from being interested in meeting new people and seeing the good in people. Quite the opposite. I am, after all, the eternal optimist. But what it has taught me is that I am much more careful with who I surround myself with. Not only for my own sake, but for other people's too. I wasn't a good match for other people. I wasn't good in other people's lives. And that's why we're no longer in each other's lives. Because just as much as they weren't good in my life, I wasn't good in theirs. It's a hard pill to swallow. Trust me, it's taken me a long time to get here. And I still struggle with it. Please don't be under any illusion that I'm okay with it, because there are days where I'm really not okay with it. And it brings me down. Really, really brings me down. Anyway. There is a very valid reason as to why there are a lot of people no longer in my life. And that is also because as much as they are not good in my life, I am very wrong for them. Over the years, I've been given stern talking to when it comes to taking responsibility. I have a bad habit of taking on other people's responsibility when I should have let people take their own responsibility instead of me making things easy for them. I've been having a serious think about this over the last short while, and especially when I began writing this book. And of course, when you decide to sit down and write something like this, you do have to look at every aspect, and you have to be big enough to look at past situations and recognize your part in it just as much as someone else's. By doing this, you may ask, are you not giving someone the out or letting them off the hook? A resounding no. But there are three sides to an argument. There's your side, there's their side, and there's the truth. I did go there. People's perception, that's the important part. People's perception can differ greatly from one person to the next. I have found myself in meetings where afterwards I have had people say, "Did you not find such and such was being really aggressive?" And I'd be thinking, no, they were really just trying to get their point across. Or situations I do find myself in is where people are just in bad form and you automatically think it is you, when it has got nothing to do with you at all, because someone has been short or snappy. The natural reaction is to convince yourself, what the heck is your problem? Knowing you have done nothing wrong. I'll let you in on a secret. Unless someone actually turns around and tells you directly they have an issue with something you said or did, then not everything is about you or is your fault. Now, if you can tell me how to remember that when someone's doing it to me, I would be ever grateful and in your debt. To have a happy, stress-free life, we need to be doing the above. But ouch, we are humans. Natural reaction for humans, jump and dive straight into the wrong conclusion. Yeah. Brings me back to my ice cream theory. I have no doubt before an ice cream flavour goes to market, they have tried and tried all different flavours and methods before they settle upon the right ones. I should know. I come from a family of food flavour makers. Both sides of my family, my mother's and my father's side. The only difference is the ice cream makers have a truly short space of time to do this and need to get it right quickly and for it to appeal to the masses because they have money to make. Humans, well, we have a bit longer to make mistakes, learn by them and move on. Well, if you can. Some people are lucky enough to get it right from an early age. Other people never get it right. And then there are the in-betweeners. Just to bring perception a little more to light, do you ever do the picture games where there's a silhouette of something and you have to try and guess what it is? Now, just before I read any further, obviously when I originally sat down to do this book, I did think I would be putting it together to publish. So, I obviously have pictures and everything. So you're just going to have to bear with me. I will try and turn the camera around so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I will be getting you to Google a few things. So let's just go back a little bit there. Just to bring perception a little more to light. Do you ever do the picture games where there is a silhouette of something and you have to try and guess what it is? It's great crack all together. And some people see one thing, others see another thing. And then you can have people that see both, which is usually me. If you have not, well, you're going to be introduced to it now. Again, thank you to the genius who developed this theory. Do not worry, I'm not sending you off to Google pictures, but after I introduce you to them, you might want to. It comes to perception and when you can see quickly or what takes a little longer, but you will finally see it. Now, as I've already stated, when I did this, I obviously did think that this was going to be going to print and stuff like that. So, but you know what, things change and that's okay. I'm really happy with doing it this way as well. So let's move on. When you were younger, or even now, regardless of your age, how many people, especially your mum and dad, warned you not to be hanging around with certain friends or relationships, etc.? Now, this probably sounds like a little bit of a contradiction after what I have just said about being warned off people and stuff, but just go with me on this, right? Because it's all about perception, and that's the part that we're getting to. It's people's perception and how they can change. As youngsters, it really upset us, right? Mom and dad didn't like your friends, didn't want you hanging around with them. It upset you. Now ask yourselves honestly, how many of you are now parents of teenagers and are doing to them what your parents did to you? Due to the very simple fact that parents are older and more experienced and been through exactly what their kids went through, can see things quicker. Yet they don't always get it right. but sometimes they do get it right. I know I wished I had listened, but then you have to make your own mistakes, don't you? But as kids, it just takes us a little longer to get there. Keep that in mind as you look at these pictures. Now, I am going to try and turn it around as best I can. So there's one, the first one is, do you see a musician or a girl's face? So let's try and turn this around to this one here. Do you see a musician or a girl's face? Okay. So there we go. So now some of you have the idea and go, oh yeah, no, I know what she's talking about now. I have seen these. And for those of you who don't, because I'm not going to turn around and show you all of them, do Google them. Because the next one that I put down is, what do you see first? A tree, a gorilla, a lion, or a fish? Do you know what? I am going to turn it around. Let's just have a giggle, because I can, because it's my book. Let's see. Where are we going with this? There we go. Now, okay, there's the next one. Okay. So there it is. It's asking you, what did you see first? A tree, a gorilla, a lion, or a fish? Or in my case, I seem to be able to just see all of them in one go. It's the way that the mind works. And the third one I did was, is it a rabbit or a duck? Is it interesting? I think so. And I think it helps with that whole perception thing. Hopefully, before you pick up your spoon of life, back to our ice cream, and are delving in, you remember that not all flavors are going to match, and that's okay. But when they do match, it's phenomenal. But I always think even more important than that, if you think two flavors should match, but each time you try them, there's something not quite matching, whether it be consistency or too much of one and not enough of the other, and you can't balance it. Listen to your tummy and your taste buds. They are telling you, no matter how hard you try, it's not going to happen. Put the spoon down. Thanks, guys.